Hey, Ronto here. Today I'm reviewing the Chuwi Freebook N100. First of all, a disclaimer, this is a review unit provided by the company, and in this video I'll just present to you my findings so that you can decide whether this is worth the money. The price of this laptop is US $369, which may be higher or lower depending on where you buy this, and shown on the left are the specifications for this particular review unit. Now there are other Freebook models out there with different specifications, so just note that this one comes with the Intel N100 processor. As usual, let me give you the bottom line up front to help you decide whether you should continue watching this video. So the build quality for this budget laptop is surprisingly solid because they are using metal for the display cover and also the back. And this is a convertible laptop, so you can fold it like this. I'm not sure if this is metal though. This feels like plastic, but when I press down there is minimal flex, so the build quality here is solid as well. The typing experience is much better than I expected. The keys have good travel and feedback, and there is backlight. This big touchpad has left and right click areas, and you can use two fingers to right click as well. The downside is the left and right click areas are kind of small, so if you try to click and drag something and your finger moves out of the area, the dragging will stop. So it's very difficult or not possible for you to click and drag a file or folder to another part of the display. This touchscreen display is much better than I expected. It's bright and vibrant. I measured color support for 100% sRGB and a maximum brightness of 400 nits. But the downside is, for some reason, you cannot reduce the brightness all the way down. So the minimum brightness at 0% is actually 189 nits, which to me is kind of bright when you're using this at night. Resolution is sharp enough with minimal pixelation. Speakers sound slightly hollow but loud enough, and there are 4 speakers, 2 here and 2 at the bottom. For the ports, on the left we have the 3.5mm audio jack and this USB-C with only USB 2 transfer speeds. On the other side there is the power button and 2 USB-C ports that support video out and charging. This laptop comes with 12 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of SSD storage. So let's see how much time it takes to launch an app. Now, Affinity Photo is going to take much longer because right now the internet connection at this place where I am at is really bad. So this app actually needs internet connection to load much faster, and this is the loading speed, which is quite decent. So let's have a look at the loading speed for Medibank Paint. So this is pretty much instant. So if you want to, you can actually use this laptop to do some graphic design work as well, because as mentioned earlier, the color support is pretty good. So it's trying to open a file from the internet. As you can see, it's very slow because the internet here is slow. So this is the SSD speed. I'm trying to click the touchpad to click and drag, and as mentioned earlier, there is that problem, so it's difficult to click and drag. Yeah, so we are looking at, you know what, there is the touch screen, so let me just use the touch screen. The write and read speeds are 2 gigabytes per second and 3.2 gigabytes per second respectively. Now the overall performance of this laptop with the Intel N100 chip is smooth and lag-free, provided you are just using this laptop for non-gaming and non-processor intensive work. And I have been using this laptop for more than 2 weeks now, and I am actually very satisfied with the performance, considering the price point of this laptop. More specifically, the main takeaway point here is this laptop provides smooth performance with multitasking. The battery life is just 5 hours, which is not great, but I'm not surprised by that. So that's the bottom line is this is a well-designed and well-made laptop that provides decent performance. So this is something I can recommend quite easily. Just note that if you're buying this from China, when it comes to warranty purposes, it's going to be very expensive to send this or ship this back. And sometimes there may be regulations relating to sending products with lithium batteries. Before we move on to the full detailed review, I have a favor to ask of you guys. If you have the intention to buy this laptop, consider using the affiliate links that I have for you in the video description below to support my YouTube channel and the work that I do here. And now let's take a look at the items included in the box. So besides the laptop, there is this charger, and there is an optional Chuwi H7 pen, which was not included, which was not sent to me for review. So that pen can actually be used to write and draw on the laptop display, but I don't expect the experience to be that good because I've tested one of their pens before. Let's take a closer look at the design. So this is a rather clean and simple design, and this laptop looks rather sleek. It's quite thin. The weight is 1.35 kg, which for a 13.5-inch laptop is quite decent. It's actually quite good considering the metal build quality. So the front and back are made with metal. There is this slight curve here at the back, and the matte textured surface feels really nice to touch. Thanks to the metal build quality, you can expect this to withstand wear and tear easily. There are 4 big rubber feet at the back with good grip on the table, and these holes are for the fans, so the air will go in and come out from the left side. The fan noise is not loud. Anyway, this is not a performance laptop, and the processor may be a budget processor, but it's actually quite capable when it comes to handling non-gaming and non-graphics or non-processor intensive work. So the fans, they don't spin at full speed most of the time. Now this USB-C port only has USB 2 transfer speed, cannot output video, and cannot charge the laptop, so this is a downside and limitation. That's the 3.5mm audio jack. Now even on the side here, the edges are beveled and the finishing is really nice. Here at the front, this is rounded, and here it's rounded like this for the convertible design. On the right side, these 2 USB-C ports can output video, so you can expect fast transfer speeds from them as well. And the charging speed is normal, it's not fast charging, and thankfully there is no unnecessary extra power port. The metal build quality really makes this laptop look and feel premium. So let's have a look at this convertible design. So if you want to use this as a tablet, I guess you can do so, but this is a 1.36 kg tablet. So let me type the password here. There is a landscape front-facing camera with so-so visual quality, and this does not support face unlock, and there is no fingerprint unlock with this laptop. So as a 13.5-inch laptop, this is heavy, so this is not something I would want to hold with one hand even when the tablet is resting on the table. This convertible design, or the tent mode, is actually pretty good for watching movies because you can fold the keyboard behind and hide the keyboard. I don't really use this laptop as a tablet or in tent mode. I mean, when I'm watching movies, I don't mind having the keyboard in front. The hinge is stiff enough to hold the display at different angles, and when you adjust the display you can see the wobble, but the wobble will stop rather quickly. This is a pretty typical laptop style keyboard layout. The keys have backlight, and the typing experience is surprisingly good. Even though the keys are made with plastic, they don't feel that plasticky, so that's a big bonus for me. To use the function key shortcuts, you have to press the function key because there is no function lock. It's nice that this touchpad is big, but there are some issues with functionality. More specifically, the left click area is too small. And there is this separator that divides the left click from the right click. So let's say I want to drag this folder from the left to the right side. or if I want to drag a file from one area of the display to another area, see what happens when I click and drag. So it stops here because my finger would stop here. I cannot drag this folder all the way to the other side. So you have to find workarounds if you have to click and drag, and thankfully this is a touch screen, so you can just tap on the display to click and drag. If I have to use the touchpad, I would rather use my Bluetooth mouse, and if I do not have the Bluetooth mouse, for example, I do not want to bring the Bluetooth mouse outdoors with me, then I just use the touch screen. Let's talk about the display, which is much better than I expected for a budget laptop. So this is a 13.5-inch IPS LCD touch screen, and the viewing angles are pretty good. So there is minimal color shift when you view the display from different or extreme angles. It's just that, as you can see, it's very reflective. Resolution of this display is 2256 and 1504, so the PPI is 200, and it's reasonably high enough to not show that much pixelation. I mean, if you look really close, there is slight pixelation, but from working distance, one arm's length away, the visuals look pretty sharp to me. Display brightness is up to 400 nits, which is quite bright. So now it's running at 400 nits. The downside is when you reduce the brightness down to 0%, which I'm going to do so right now, it doesn't go all the way down to 0 nits. So this is actually 189 nits from what I have measured with my color calibrator. So if you are using this outdoors, as you can see, it's not bright enough. But if you are using this indoors at night, 189 nits is actually too bright for me. So I'm not sure why there is no way to reduce the brightness lower than 189 nits for this display. Anyway, having a bright display is better than having a dim display any day, and the refresh rate of this display is 60 Hz. The aspect ratio of this display is 3:2, which is what I prefer because given the fixed width of the display, you get more vertical space, so you get more resolution to work with. So this is how graphic design apps will look on this display. Let me just zoom in. So there is still a good amount of canvas space. In fact, this is actually quite big, and you get palettes by the side, and the text looks pretty big. Anyway, you can control the scaling for the text, the UI elements with Windows settings. So this display size and resolution to me is actually and color support is also better than expected. I measured 100% sRGB coverage and 76% Adobe RGB. Let's talk about performance. So I've been using this laptop for almost 2 weeks now, mostly for writing, checking emails, surfing the web, watching some videos, and overall performance is really smooth. The laptop definitely has no issues with multitasking, and I don't do processor intensive work on this laptop, so my experience with this laptop is very satisfactory. This Intel N100 processor is not a powerful processor, but for non-gaming and non-processor intensive work, this processor is still more than powerful enough to handle those workflows, and there is 12 gigs of RAM installed. I did not open the back of the laptop, so I'm not sure if you can add more RAM, but 12 gigs is quite sufficient for light workflows. And by light workflows, I mean you can still open multiple apps and multiple tabs with the web browser. If I have to edit videos or edit hundreds of raw photos or game, then obviously this is not the laptop I would use. But for light workflows over the past few weeks, I didn't really felt like I need this processor or this laptop to be faster because the overall performance is really smooth. Battery life of this laptop is about 4 to 5 hours, and these are the battery life stats from the past 7 days. So there is no way to reduce the minimum brightness even lower, so that does affect battery life. Regarding sleep mode, this can sleep and wake instantly. However, if you have the laptop sleep for too long, it would shut down. So it doesn't work exactly like a tablet where you can have it sleep indefinitely and wake it up the next day instantly. So if you have it sleep overnight, tomorrow morning you will have to power on the laptop. You know what? Let me show you how much time it takes to start the laptop. So press and hold the power button, and it should power on. This is definitely not as fast compared to other laptops, so you have to wait a few seconds, but it's not that bad. Okay, I don't really recommend gaming with this laptop. I mean, if you want to game, you may have to drop the resolution down to 480p or even lower. So this is not a gaming laptop, which you already know. I almost forgot to mention the OS, which is Windows 11 Home, which is not activated by default. So I had to go through the phone activation, punch in some numbers and have the phone call give me some numbers to type into the settings to activate Windows, which I did eventually. Alright, to conclude, this is a decent laptop. It is a budget laptop, so there will be some downsides or limitations, but those are not deal breakers. So if you're looking for a non-gaming laptop for office type work or for studies, this is definitely one you can consider. I mean, this is US $369, and the Surface laptop that I reviewed recently starts at US $999. So this is significantly more expensive compared to the Chuwi Freebook N100. Yes, this is not as powerful compared to the Surface laptop or other laptops, but the thing is, do you really need that much power for the type of work that you do? So ultimately, how much power you need in your laptop will come down to the type of work you do. So in terms of value for money, this does provide tremendous value for money in my opinion, considering the budget price point. So if you guys are interested to buy this laptop, consider using my affiliate links in the video description below to support the work that I do here. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye.